of 23 years and was one of the youngest boxers ever to be invited to the Olympic trials. Coach Ray runs a training facility called the Core Strength Academy in Heartland and is also a motivational speaker. At his facility, he teaches lifting, boxing, self-defense, health, and general sport-related skills in a motivational and fun fashion. So now I'd like to introduce Coach Ray.
Good evening. How is everybody out there? Good is what people say when they have nothing better to say. How's everybody out there? Our vocabulary is deep, right, honest students? Our vocabulary is much deeper. There are words like stupendous, colossal, marvelous. Just to say a few. How's everybody? I want you all to do me a favor before I start talking. Actually, I already did, but do me a favor before I start. Could I get you to stand up for a moment? Because as I sat back here and listened to their speeches, and I'm watching these young people over here, my heart is bubbling over with pride to be a part of this ceremony and be a part of a group of young people that are really ready to accept their leadership roles and proving the fact that they're developing their skills by being inducted into the Honor Society. Most of our communication is nonverbal. So to accent the words that we just shared, we need some nonverbal performance as well. When I do this, that means stop. When I do this, that means give me some more. Can we agree to this? All right. On the count of three, give me your loudest, greatest, deepest, most heartfelt applause. 1, 2, 3. Did you see the disobedience? Did they all stop at the same time? Did they all stop at the same time? You can talk. No. One more time. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you for have a seat. That was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for participating and humoring me. Two of my daughters were inducted into the National Honor Society, and one of them asked me one day, she said, "Daddy, why can't we just be normal?" I said, "What do you mean normal?" Because a lot of their friends and acquaintances didn't study as hard, or didn't put as much time into their homework, or didn't have this higher standard of discipline. So this particular child wanted to know why she couldn't be like them. I said, for one, they don't have the father that you have. And number two, they don't have the genes that you have. I'm demanding that you perform because our lineage is about leadership. So her headache in her education, she ended up graduating from Marquette University with very high honors. And I had a conversation with her a couple of weeks ago to say, well, how do you feel now about being different? And she just smiled in a nice, humble way and said, well, there's a lot of people that think the world of me, Dad, and I want to thank you for the way you push me and the way you motivate me. And I want to thank you, parents, for continuing to push your children and motivate them and be an inspiration in their life. I spent 23 years in the United States Navy. I've been inducted into a Hall of Fame for training recruits. I trained over 150,000 recruits. And in that in that performance, I was inducted into the Hall of Fame 7 times for the performance of leadership. That goes along with making myself really dedicated to what I do and what I believe. Committed, obedient, and responsibly engaged in the lives of all the people that are underneath me. You young people in your future now are going to have those opportunities in business, in education, and maybe those of you that do decide to join the military, to lead and motivate a great deal of people. That leadership is the ability to influence others. What is leadership? Oh, you got to give me more than that. What is leadership? This is going to be a hard crowd. Are any of these your parents? Are any of these your friends? They're going to have to speak up. What do you think? Leadership is the ability to influence others. I want to thank you young people, and I want to thank your parents very much for sacrificing the things that you've sacrificed to be up on this stage and be recognized the way that you're being recognized. There's so many of our young people that don't see the value of education. They see it as a burden, and they don't see where it's going to fit into their life and in their future. We have 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, and 8 hours of play. That adds up to how much? 24 hours in a day. So we need to work out 24 hours in a day. 24 hours. 8 hours of that school time that you're spending right now is preparing you for what you're going to do in the workforce. You already know how to sacrifice and put in those 8 hours. The other 8 hours, when you're home or away from your job, away from work, you're going to be spending that time taking care of your family or having some fun for yourself, and then you got to make time for rest. So in that balance, in that formula of work, rest, and play, those 24 hours, we need to continue to make sure we develop the leaders of those around us. Leadership begins in our home. And we need to make sure we continue to forge that leadership in our home. On the last note, I know some of these young children up here, young adults have issues in their life that may be holding them back, or some things that they may be thinking about. Some things that you think about that are difficult for you in your life. I want you to kind of think about that for a moment and say to yourself, in this quest of leadership development and in the future of my life, what could possibly hold me back or get in my way? I want you to think about that for about 10 seconds. What could possibly hold me back, stumble me, or get in my way as I forge through a life of success and accept this leadership role that I'm going to announce in this pledge? You're going to take this pledge in a little while that says you're a leader and you're going to stand up to that. Everybody have an idea of anything that might hold you back? If you do, I want you to stand up right now. If you're being honest with yourself, all of you are going to stand up. Because all of us have a barrier or a stumbling block that could possibly get in our way. I want you to cup your hands, and I want you to whisper into your hands what that thing is and keep it trapped in your hands. Whisper it in your hands. Everybody got it? Close your eyes. And think about it. That one thing that may hold you back or may stumble you. For some of you young ladies, it might be a guy. For some of you guys, it might be a guy. I mean, a young lady. That was a joke, fellas. But there's something. Some of us might have speech impediments, like Coach does. Some of us might think, well, my lack of hair is going to hold me back. Whatever it is, I want you to honestly think about it. And a count of 5. I want you to hold your hands up in the air and free that thing and let it go. Because your life is full of brightness and success from this moment on. 1, 2, 3, 4, now 3, 5.